29 gear tips from a professional guitarist. Hello and welcome to another video with me, Elmo. It's good to have you along. Yes, today I'm going to share 29 tips that I've learned over the years, and I'm going to try to do it in under 10 minutes. We'll see if I manage that. Some might ask if I truly am a professional guitar player since I'm a YouTuber. Well, this is what I do for a living. I play guitar, try gear, and so on. Plus, I've also been a professional touring guitar player. So, yeah. I'll consider myself a professional guitar player for this purpose. Yes. So before I start, I'm going to start my timer and do no edits on this. There we go. And let's start with number 1, which comes with a bit of a backstory. We were playing in Tampere, which is a city in Finland way back in the day, with the band Death Like Silence. And there was another band there as well, which was lucky for me because my amp started making weird noises during sound check. And I asked the guitar player from the other band if I could borrow his amp, and he said he had a spare Marshall, which was nice. So I got the spare Marshall just in case, and yes, true enough, my amp died during the first song. So I switched all the cables into his spare amp and turned on the power, and nothing happened. After a bit of investigation, I realized it didn't have a fuse. Which was like, what? So I ended up borrowing his 6505 PV head, which I didn't know how to use, and yeah, it ended up sounding terrible. But at least I got the gig done, and with a bit of acting, convinced the audience that I was into it 100%, because I wasn't. Yeah, but the moral of the story: always have a spare. I have a spare of everything except for a cab. Yes. Number 2. Do you want to end up with gear that's crap? I bet you don't. So try before you buy, or make sure you can send it back. If you don't know anything about guitars, let's say guitars, you're a beginner, get a friend and who knows something and have them help you out. But regardless, even if you don't have a friend to help you out, see if stuff sticks out or anything. Yeah. So try before you buy. Number 3, let me check my notes. In my personal opinion, it's better to get something that does one thing well rather than something that does a whole bunch of stuff but doesn't do anything particularly well. For me, it's that Marshall. Now, I realize there are guitar players out there who have to have something that's versatile, but those people are probably not watching pro tips. So if you need versatility, of course, but in my opinion, usually you end up being happy, or at least I end up being happier with something that does one thing really well, and for me it's the Marshall. Number 4. Looks are a valid reason to buy a piece of gear. So consider this: you have a butt ugly guitar that you don't want to have out in the open. You're not likely to play it if it's not out in the open. But even if it's just, visually appealing, you're more likely to play it. It's a perfectly valid reason to buy an instrument. Number 5. Gas is bad, so pass the gas. Yes, gear acquisition syndrome, not the other kind of gas. Gear acquisition syndrome is when you sit around and you fantasize about gear all day long, browsing Thomann or some such place, and maybe sometimes buying gear, trying it out, selling it on, and you just acquire gear. It's not good for your playing. Doesn't work. Play. Don't worry about gear. This is where your true sound comes from. Number 6, look outside of the big, quote-unquote, big brands for good gear. Especially on the guitar side now, you have brands like Harley Benton, E-Art, Sire, Jet, Court that do stuff really well, and there are others as well. And they make stuff that's better than some Fender stuff or Gibson stuff at way cheaper prices. Yeah, so look outside the big brands if you want to save some money. That was number 6. Number 7, second hand is good, especially in guitars. You get cheaper stuff. Again, try before you buy. But also, a guitar, when you get it, it's made out of wood. The wood can dry. It can get all sorts of issues. A used second-hand guitar probably will have had all those issues. So it's a good thing to go second-hand. Plus, you save some money. Number 8. Simple is good. This is for beginners especially. Now, I already said that thing about the Marshalls, or one thing that does one thing really well. But simple is good. I mean that you don't sit around fiddling with menus and stuff. You want to spend your time playing. Something like the Roland Microcube, you have a button for the different amps, and then you have a tone and a gain, and that's basically it, some delay. That's what I mean by simple. So that you spend more time playing, again, because playing is what develops you, not the gear. That was number 8. Number 9. You don't need all that gain. If you're a metal player, this is something that metal players often... less gain. You can manage with less gain. You'll have less all sorts of noise going on and stuff like that. Plus, the notes will be more defined. Number 10. Now, this is for tuning stability. Lube your nut. I have a separate video that discusses a couple of the points that are coming up. This is one of those. Lube your nut, that means that your instrument will stay in tune better. Number 11, again, tuning stability, but also sound. Change those strings. When I was a kid, my teacher told me you should change strings every week. If you're lazy, every other week. That's if you're playing every day, an hour to 3 hours per day. I'm lazy, so I change them when they break. So this is definitely a case of do as I say, not as I do. Yeah, but I know it can get costly as well. So, but yeah, change your strings. I change them before I go recording and before I play live if they're a bit, I'm unsure. Number 12, I think. How it feels matters. What do I mean? Well, Glenn Fricker of Spectre Sound Studios has had a variety of videos where he's discussed tone, woods, pickups, and they don't matter. And I'm not disagreeing with him as such. I would have to go into separate arguments to disagree with an argument. But on a general level, even if you can't hear a difference in sound in a mix, it might feel different when you play, and that's a totally valid thing. You don't have to worry about how it sounds in the mix. If it feels good, but it sounds identical to something else, take the one that feels good. Even if someone else says those things don't matter, it can be whatever. Yeah, so like tubes, I don't know, or valves. Number 13, tuning stability. If you have these kinds of tuning pegs where you stick the string through on the unwound strings, roll it around and under the string so that it gets wedged between the string and the tuning post. When you tune up, that will help with tuning stability. That is also in that video that I mentioned. I'll link it in the description. Number 14, is it? Yes. Wondering what gear to buy. What do your idols use? Try to get something that's similar to what your idols use. That's a good way to at least start looking. Number 15, string brands do not matter. I did a video a few years ago where I tried a whole bunch of different kinds of strings and string brands. Kinds of strings might matter if they're coated or not and so on. But the brand didn't matter. Ooh, I'm at 9 minutes. I'm not going to make 10. Number 16. Experiment with picks, especially if you play acoustic. They're your number one EQ. Number 17. If you're a beginner, don't get a floating trem like Floyd Rose or something, because they're a big hassle. If you want to, you can get a Strat, and don't set it up floating. But just, yeah, if you want a Floyd Rose, go for it. But you have been warned. Number 18. Wipe it clean. That is the strings after you've played and the neck. That will mean that it plays nicer and the strings last a bit longer. Yes. Number 19. In terms of EQ, there was a time when, especially among metal players, it was really popular to scoop the sound, basically dip everything in the mids. Guitar is a mid-range instrument. Now, if you like that scooped sound, fair enough. But yeah, guitar is a mid-ranged instrument. Number 20. Wash your hands before you play. This, again, helps keep your guitar clean, plays nicer, and so on. Related to the wipe the guitar clean thing. I remember working in an instrument store and trying the guitars there when no one was there, and the amount of finger cheese on some of those. Yes, and number 21. Do you know when you buy a car and you drive it out the dealership, the value plummets? Same with digital gear, kind of. At least if you buy a piece of digital gear, it might hold its value for a while, but when they release the next version, that will plummet in price. So digital gear is not a good financial investment. But then again, very few musical items are. Yes, that was 21. 22. When you watch reviews, try to see if they're trying to sell the same stuff. So let's say this is a review, which it isn't, but I'm reviewing this guitar. And if I have a link where you can buy this guitar and I get a commission, if I have a link in the description, take the review with a huge pinch of salt. Take all reviews with a pinch of salt, but especially if they're trying to tell you something. Yes, number 23. It kind of relates to the previous one. Be wary of people who say everything is awesome, because most things aren't. Most things aren't terrible either. They fall somewhere in between. And if someone says everything is awesome all the time, red flag for me at least. Yes, I think that was 23. 24. Guitars are nicer than paintings. I'm paraphrasing my wife there. I was incredibly lucky to find a woman who is so understanding of my love for guitars that she prefers them on the wall to a painting. Well, some paintings and some guitars at least. They're nice decorations. Although, if you have a guitar and you never play it, it's a bit pointless, but yeah. So get guitars. I know gas is bad. Play your guitar. Number 25. You don't need all that bass. When you sit in a mix, there will be a bass player there. And if you have a bunch of bass, you'll be muddling it up together with the bass, and that's no good. Yeah, so you don't need all that bass. Number 26, stretch those strings. So when you put fresh strings on, stretch them out a bit. That will help with tuning stability. Again, in the same video as I said earlier, that's linked in the description. I will make this in under 15 minutes. Yeehaw! Number 27 relates to the previous one. Finish by tuning upwards. Again, in that same video discussed in more detail. Number 28. Learn basic setup. If you want your guitar to play good, learn basic setup. There are loads of videos out there. I'll probably do one at some point myself. Yeah. Number 29. I've mentioned this a few times, I think, or at least a couple of times. What matters is your skill. You can have all the best gear that sounds really nice. If what you put into it is dodgy, you will sound dodgy. Practice your guitar. If you want to watch a video on how to really practice the instrument so that you really see improvement, that's here. Other than that, I hope you consider supporting the channel via the link in the description, where if you buy something that way, you help the channel at no extra cost to you, even if you just buy the strings, your strings that way. It is an affiliate link. You can also just give me a super thanks here. But above all, I hope you had some use of this or enjoyed it. I hope to see you in another one. Take care. See you. 1439. Bye-bye.